Friends, I'd like to introduce you, I suppose, to the reality of our little, what I call an oasis space here in the college. It's an interfaith space which people of many faiths in the college here use, and even people of no faith. It's a quiet space. I call it the oasis in the middle of our activity. Naturally, this end of the oratory or prayer chapel is mostly for Christian worship. And I just introduce you naturally. Draw your attention to a few of the items that are here. This is bog oak, and it's carbon dated at over 5,000 years old. It was presented by the Catholic Bishop of Ardon Clonmacnoise, Bishop Colin O'Reilly. And over here you have the book stand, or the lectern, and it's made of bog oak and bog yew, equally 5,000 years old. And this was presented by Reverend Dr. Empey, the Church of Ireland Bishop of Meath. Now, the light in here reflects different things. Because it was a multi-faith area, we didn't want to have symbols of a particular church. So we have, if you look at this depiction of a cross, you'll see very unique, I think you'll see a figure on it. The concept behind this was that on Good Friday, the body of Christ was blackened by the sin of humanity. You think of Auschwitz and all the horrific things that have happened down through the millennia of years, and the things that have happened done by Christians and done to Christians. And anyway, the body of Christ on Good Friday made atonement or reparation for all the sins of humanity. And therefore the Son of God was blackened by the oppression of sin. Then it's set against a disc, which is the Eucharist of Holy Thursday. And then this profusion of light is like the splitting of the atom, or whatever you like. This is Easter Sunday. And Easter Sunday would have changed the human history for all time. It was an event that took place that like imploded onto our consciousness and continues to go out. And this is depicted by this profusion of light. And I think it's hard to describe what Easter Sunday would be, but it's like the ending of death for man, and it has a huge impact going forward. And this is just a way we predict it. The grey cloth then is symbolism of the tomb being rolled back, the stone being rolled back, and again making way for the light to come out at you. So I think there's a lot of little imagery in it. And we're very lucky to have it. But it's a place where I would encourage anybody to come, regardless of their faith. But it's a quiet space where you can find yourself, where you can bring in a book. If you want to listen to a piece of music, provided you just don't interrupt anybody else, you can listen to it. But I think we all need that silent place in our lives. Education is about many things, but it's definitely about finding out who you are as a person. And you cannot make that journey in a profusion of noise. And you do need, I think, anyway, a quiet space to pull aside and just ponder your own journey. As I said, this is a multi-faith centre where peoples of different faith traditions can come and worship. And this particular end of our interfaith space would be normally where our Muslim brothers and sisters come to pray. And you can see they have their prayer mat here on the floor, and they can pull across the curtains here to cut themselves off from any kind of Christian symbols or that, if they wish. But normally they don't. And the numerous times in this semester, we had some of the Muslim students praying here at this end, and I was saying Mass with some of my friends at the other end. And I thought there was something beautiful about that both of us were praying to really our own gods, if you like, but praying for each other as well. And there's a great harmony in that, and that's the way it should be. We should be able to meet in prayer and support each other in all times. Now, this particular chair for the main celebrant was given to me by the Sisters of La Santa Union from Our Lady's Bower. It was designed by the great church architect Ray Carroll, and it was in their oratory. And when the Bower nuns were leaving, they very kindly presented me with this. It's a place I worked for many years, and it's a place I have great affection for, and for the sisters. Tree here too representing the life in the sanctuary, and in the Old Testament the water flowed out from under the tree in the Holy of Holies, and again this is just a sort of a representation of that. But the tree of life has all these symbolisms, you know, people. I am the vine, you are the branches. There's lots of biblical terminology to associate us with trees. This particular image is the Virgin and Child. Again, Mary is very much a part of our worship tradition, and this was very kindly given to me by my brother Sean, who actually designed this little oratory for me. And it's made of bog. It's hardened peat. And again, to keep in the same tradition as the bog oak, and there's lots of bog around Offaly and Longford and Westmeath, so again we're just appealing to our roots. This little holy water font was given to me by Dr. Nasa Kinsella. She was from the Department of Science, and it's cut out of limestone. It's all the one piece cut out of limestone, and again it would make the suggestion or the link between the limestone here and the limestone in Clonmacnoise, which of course, as all of you know, is a very famous monastic system not very far from here. I think it's important to acknowledge too that our altar here was made by the tradesmen, particularly Pierce McCormack, and they fashioned it, and it's really good that it was made by their human hands. And every time we offer the Eucharist, of course, we think of them. In all churches where the Blessed Sacrament is reserved, there is a light, and that's the sign that the Blessed Sacrament is reserved. And again, very pleased that this was made by tradesmen again, and people that worked in the mechanical side of the house, and it was designed and made by Camillus King, who's now retired. But again, it's a great symbol of their presence, and their memory will always be with us as long as the light is lit.